I'm at Race Tech in Corona, California. It's their corporate headquarters. Race Tech does a lot of Harley suspension, also a lot of dirt bikes and other kind of race bikes and street bikes. Race Tech, the founder of Race Tech, also I think has the electric land speed record for Lightning motorcycles. I think he was the rider. But anyway, got the bike in the shop, and they're going to come in and set it up for me. What was your name again, sir?
Richard.
Richard. So Richard's going to do it for us.
Yep. So we're going to do a sack set on this live wire right here.
Yep.
First time ever doing a sack set on one of these, so it should be pretty simple,
right.
straightforward and everything. It just has to show a suspension on it. So.
I can tell you've been on YouTube before.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Right
All
on.
right. All right.
Can you cut it and then like?
Sure. Recording. Okay. So
All
you're
right,
gonna get.
so pretty much I'm gonna grab a couple guys from the shop, help me get an extended number. That way we can get full extension of the forks and the shop.
All right. To see how much sag there's gonna be.
Correct.
Okay.
To see how much sag there's gonna be.
Cool. Cool. That's all right. What's your name, sir?
My name's Jeff.
Jeff, you've been here a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, since 2015.
Yeah, I was here a few years ago for springs for my Suzuki Beat King, and you set me up.
Okay, yeah.
It worked great.
Nice.
All right, cool.
This is a good looking bike.
Yeah, I just had a week. It's a VIN number 1, if you can believe it. I had like, see, have you ever seen that in your life? I've never seen that in my life.
Not sold. Anyway.
Yeah, not sold. Yeah, so I had to be persistent to get that to happen.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so you got some tape on there.
Now you do
I know. Let's put it up.
So what they're doing now is they're lifting it up to get the suspension fully suspended. So they just lift the back end right off the ground. He's getting a measurement on the tape.
Then we're gonna do the same thing for the front. We're gonna get an extended number for the front. Okay.
Are those good forks? They're supposed to be, I think. Are those like the premium Showa forks?
The BPF, and then it's the BFRC rear shock. They're quality components.
They are, huh?
When they used to have the dual damping in the BPF fork, it's a little over damped,
All right.
in my opinion, but these tend to work a little bit better with just spring on one side.
Just
damper
spring on one side, damper on the other? Yeah,
It's a little more compliant.
Yeah.
Not quite as rigid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, I asked you if you set it for sag 80% of travel.
So generally we look at a third of max wheel travel available as our baseline normal sag setting, especially on a street bike. Static sag was a number that was used a lot in the past. We've kind of dropped using that just because if there's, especially with like a lighter weight bike, if guys are making mods to exhaust or anything like that, it changes the weight drastically over the rear axle. And so it can affect your sag number quite a bit as far as static, how much it drops. But the rider sag isn't going to change as much because percentages are a lot greater between the rider and the exhaust change. So.
Makes sense.
But yeah, normal street riding, twisties, fun canyon riding would do a normal 33% of total wheel travel. And we'll either get that number from a listed spec or from our data that we actually measured.
All right, cool.
So this one I'll probably do at 33 to get a baseline.
Right.
And then we can make any changes down the road if needed.
All right.
Alright, so if you want to go ahead and
Sit on the bike.
jump on the bike for me.
All right. Can you hold the camera for a
Yeah,
second and get me on the bike?
Alright. Alright, so now you're on the bike. I'm gonna go ahead and measure as you say. Yeah, you want to.
on the forks, we're going to find a friction zone. So we're going to measure by pulling up on the front end and letting it settle really slowly. And then again, we'll pull down on it in the travel. And the difference between those two measurements will average out to the middle, and that'll be where we set our sag number.
So that's 11 mils of stiction.
Is that good or bad, 11 mils?
It's kind of right there. I mean, the lowest, that's about average for most street bikes.
Okay.
The lowest friction I've seen is about 5, and that's on like a fully prepped race bike with
Okay.
all the coatings you can put on it.
Now, are Öhlins and Showa about equivalent in terms of stiction?
If the wheel's properly mounted and stuff, it usually averages between 5 and 12
Okay.
on most bikes.
Okay.
Like I said, anything under 5 is ideal.
So you can screw it up by not tightening down the wheels right on the
Yeah,
forks
so
on
you
that?
can pinch the forks if you have the floating axle or the fork leg on the one side. It happens a lot on dirt bikes
Yeah.
where guys will change the front wheel out and they'll actually pinch the forks together at the axle,
Yeah.
and it creates a lot of extra friction. It can wear bushings out a lot faster.
Yeah.
And it also messes with your sag number if you're checking sag up there.
Okay.
Adds harshness in the ride, in the feedback, especially arm
Maybe
gas.
Somebody who knows how to change
So-
the front wheel, eh?
Yeah, the main thing is once you put the axle in, before you tighten any of your pinch bolts, either weight the bike and bounce the front end a few times to set it, or a lot of guys will spin the front wheel and stab the brake to jar it, and that'll usually set it. But most of the time we like to put weight on the front wheel and then kind of give it a couple
Wanna jump
pushes.
off them?
All right.
Let me go and jump off.
All right.
So our sag in the front was 33 and a half. In the rear, it was about 45. So we have to lower the front,
Right.
and then the rear end is a little high as well, so we're gonna lower the.
Okay, cool. So that should make it smoother because it seemed like it was kind of jarring when I was
Correct. Yeah.
riding.
So what we want to do is we want to even it out. Right now, the bike's kind of riding like this.
Right.
Or not. So we want to. Sorry, excuse me. We want to raise the front end and then
Lower the back, yeah. All right, cool.
Yep. Can you pause real quick?
Oh, sure.
I gotta get nervous around camera. So
They had a little
wait.
sidebar conversation to
All right,
make
wait,
sure.
wait,
Okay.
wait, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right,
We're rolling. We're rolling. Come on. Explain that whole thing now.
Jesus Christ. All right. Ready?
Yep.
All right, cool. So our number in the front was 33 and a half in the front. In the rear was 45. So we have to drop the front and then
Raise the back.
raise the rear. Yes.
So
Yeah.
what's your target?
I get confused.
What's the target?
All right, so
Just
our
look at the
target.
target side.
I know. So our target sag is 38 millimeters.
All right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and make the adjustments.
All right, cool. What's your
We're gonna
target?
have to do a lot of editing.
No, that's all right. We know how to do it. We edit everything. I'm known for having really
Oh my
well
God.
edited videos.
I get nervous. I don't know why I get so nervous. All right. Yeah. All right. So we'll see how far we can get.
So these adjustments should balance the chassis out.
Yeah.
It'll help it feel a little more, probably make corner stability,
Yeah. Good.
things of that nature.
Good. Well, I know when I've brought stuff here before that it's a giant difference. I mean, I can almost tell by the time I get to the end of the driveway.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a big difference,
Well, this will tell us too by how much preload we have in
right?
the two sections, if the spring rate is right where you need it, or if you
Or
need
need
to
different springs.
bump the spring rate or something like
Yeah.
that. Because the number is pretty high in the back, depending on how much you have to compress that spring, and maybe
Well,
we're
I'm
bumping the spring rate.
I'm 210 pounds.
Yeah.
So they might have like a set for 160 pound rider.
Well, I think they've gotten a little bit better with that.
Because the Harley guy's a little heavier, huh?
Yeah, well, just Americans in general.
Yeah, Americans in general, yeah. Yeah. Okay,
You
we're
want
running.
that preload tool to just spin it
Yeah. Yeah, the adjustable one? Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of mark.
See how far you moved it?
Yeah, right there, just to see how many turns I'm going for reference. I'll clean it off way at the end. And then he's gonna grab the adjustable tool.
All right.
That makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
So is that 45 and you want 38?
38.
So probably need at least 2 turns
There's one.
to start. Oh, that's right. It's 1.5. That'd be 3 mil added.
So go 3? No,
2
that's
turns,
3.
but
Yeah.
that'd be 3 mil added.
Yeah. Okay.
It's 1.5.
1.5 turns in.
Well, it's 2 turns in, but I'm wondering if the thread pitch is 1.5 or 125 or 10.
I think
Depends on what the thread
Just want me
pitch
to
is.
sit on it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you wanna
You're
grab-
doing the filming?
Okay.
All right. So went ahead and made a couple of adjustments. I'm gonna recheck my numbers and see where it's at. How much gear do you weigh?
We just wear a jacket, helmet, gloves, maybe 6-7 pounds.
Go ahead, jump off here. Alright. So I got the front dialed in. I just need to raise the rear by 2 millimeters, and then you'll be all set.
All right.
Huh?
Around 45.
Yeah. So it's like 40. I didn't hit it, I promise. Come on. Alright, that's a half turn.
Try it again.
Yep.
First. So now that I got the sag properly adjusted, I'm gonna go ahead and lock the rear collars down, and then we'll set the compression and rebound on both the front and rear.
So you're screwing it all the way in and then back it out.
Mm-hmm.
You just see what the range is, how to
Yeah.
max it out.
Okay.
And then it'll usually start at the middle and then do push test.
All right.
And make sure it balances with the rear so they kind of move in the same rate.
And then same for the rear.
Okay. So really the only time you have to count anything is when you're finding the middle spot. After that, it's completely feel. Would that be correct?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Feedback from the rider and kind of
Yeah.
see if, what the, basically just set a baseline so then, a few rides after, you can always come back, stop in,
Yeah.
do an adjustment or something.
Yeah.
And we'll ask her, a series of questions to kind of figure out what the bike's doing, what
Yeah.
you're feeling, things
Yeah.
of that nature. So your best going out.
Yeah. You said it'll roll, right?
Push it.
Seems like you got nothing there at all, eh?
That feels good. So basically what you wanted to do is you wanted to go down, come up, settle, and then just settle. Or
Okay.
whatever. You don't want it to like go back and forth. You just want it to be a consistent like
All right.
feel.
All right.
And then in the rear, you got it. I'm like, you got it. So I would start about right there. You got your sag set, got it all leveled out and everything. You put your clickers. There's a bike going by. So we put your adjusters in the middle of the adjustment range. And then so you go out, ride it, and then we would just make adjustments from there if we would need to.
All right. So are we done?
We're all done?
Now, you haven't set a compression damping.
Compression damping?
Yeah.
As far as what?
That's right here. Isn't that the other screw?
Yeah, so compression's on one side, rebound's on the other. And then
You set them both in the middle, so everything's in the middle.
correct.
Okay. So then when I go out and ride, what am I supposed what do I look for? How do I know if it's okay?
It just depends. A lot of the roads, especially here in California, are a lot different. We got a lot of freeway chop and everything like that. So what you would want to feel is nothing too harsh, like in the bars. You don't want to feel like a heavy,
Okay.
vibration through the
All
bars
right.
or anything like
Okay.
that. Through turns and everything, you want it to kind of go in and track. You don't want to get what do you call that? Like when you're going through a turn, yeah.
wallow.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want it to wallow or anything like
Okay.
that.
Now I see guys sometimes putting tie wraps on
Yeah,
these,
so trying to see where their travel, how much travel they're using.
right?
The issue with that is it's not a dynamic, it's only a static, really. It's
Yeah.
a one-time hit.
Yeah,
So if you're on the brakes and you catch a pothole,
that'll throw
it's
it
going to
off.
go all the way down through the travel most of the time, or really,
Yeah.
really close.
Yeah.
But it's not going to come back up until you kind of where your
Okay.
zone is. You can
So-
use it as a reference, but I wouldn't put too much
All right. All
into
right.
that as like, you know.
All right, cool. So we set the sag both ends, and then we put the compression rebound in the middle. Is that right?
Later on the forks, he did adjust the rebound a little bit. It's a,
Because when
one
it
thing
was-
I'll usually do that he didn't do it this time, I'll usually push on both ends of the bike at the same time and then kind of watch. to
Oh
see
man,
if
that
they
looks
react
great.
the same.
That looks great. Yeah, looks perfect.
So you want to kind of see the balance.
You do that again, we'll get the whole bike in there. 'Cause that,
Little light guy.
yeah, that's good. Okay.
So the balance is kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Sag's gonna set your preload and that will set the geometry of the bike kind of where you need it.
All right.
And then set the clickers so that you have the same motion. Now that's only slow speed. We're not affecting
Yeah,
anything high wheel velocity. So guys get confused sometimes. High speed and they're talking about mile per hour.
All right.
We're talking about bump absorption
The speed of the
and
bump.
velocity of the wheel movement. So
All
low
right.
speed is kind of pushing on it. That'll be your normal riding over GS and stuff. Sharp edge cracks or potholes where you hit a 2x4 on the road because stuff falls out of trucks around here. When you hit sharp edge hit like that, it's gonna be a high speed velocity. It's gonna overcome what the clickers will do.
Yeah.
And adjust. And then it goes into the stack of the valving.
Okay, cool.
So
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. Appreciate both of you.